Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, to my third video in this series. It has been a while since I posted. The last week in February is when I posted last, and now it is April 27th. Welcome back if you've watched before. If not, thank you for joining me. I am making this video series and posting it to YouTube so that I have something to look back on. I am building a custom home here on Vancouver Island, and it has been a process. I purchased this lot, or put a down payment on this lot in early December 2020. It is now 2023, April 2023, April 27th, 2023 to be exact, and I am not in this home yet. Lots of reasons for that, including COVID. I think I've gone through some of that in a previous video. I'm not going to go through that again. But even the last 2 months now, there has been lots of delays. Last video I made, I had my riparian approval. Got that January 22nd. I was waiting on my development permit, and I was waiting on my build permit. 2 permits that I needed to actually start construction again. So as you can see, I have those permits. I got my development permit March 6th. So it took a while to get that. It still took another month, even though I had been told by the city that it would only be a week or two after I got that riparian approval. It took another month to get the development approval. And then it took almost a full month, I think it was March 29th, that I got my build permit approval. So I do have both those permits in place. I've had those permits for almost a month now, and we aren't looking that much different. Lots of reasons for that. It took about a week for my contractor to meet with the framer up here and figure out what needed to be done. The framer said he would be up the next week, and he had some personal stuff come up and was not able to make his commitment and did not come up that next week, and it actually took full another week for him to make it up to the lot. And part of what they had to do was actually go backwards. So those forms over there, if you look back at a previous video, you can see that they were covered in sand from where they overshot on my neighbors. So the ones at the front, along the side, and then interior, there's 1, 2 forms, actually 3 forms, you can't see one, all the way to the back, and then partly across the back had about 5 to 6 inches, some spots even deeper, sand in them. Myself and my mom actually came up about 3 weeks ago, just after we got that build permit, and we cleaned out the back, the shorter forms on the side, and the 3 middle forms with a little hand trowel and a little garden hoe. But the framers had to actually pull apart these front, side, and corner about to where that bump out is to clean out all the sand that was in there. That took about 3 or 4 days for them actually to pull it all apart and put it back together. They also have built this interior scaffolding, so kind of all the way around on the tall foundation wall. They have interior scaffolding. That is so that when the concrete truck comes and the pump truck comes, they have somewhere to stand to help direct that hose into the right spots and make sure that those forms are all filled correctly. The other thing they've done is they put these little pieces of metal through all the ties, and quite a few of these they had to put those ties in as well. That is just to help support the forms so that they don't bow out, because I don't want to have walls that are not plumb. So that's what the framers have been doing. I can see today they also got some sonotubes in for my deck posts. So I can see they've done that as well. Looks like I got one more back there to do. And the other thing we've done is we have a whole bunch of, probably about 6, I think, maybe 7 truckloads of this crushed granite gravel. And the reason for that is down over here, the excavator has been working. There we go. The excavator's been working and cleared a bunch of soil and fill. Not necessarily dirty fill, but fill that has a lot of tree stumps, as you can see over that direction, and rocks in it. And they've been digging down back where, I don't know if you can see it on the video, let me zoom in, where those two tubes are back there. So that's my sewer and my stormwater drainage. And when these lots were originally developed in 2006, they just used whatever fill was around, I guess, to fill in around those connections. And today's standards, they need to use this crushed granite to fill in around there and tamp it down as they go, so it's a nice strong connection. So that's where we're at. They did move a lot of soil over in this area, and most of it got moved down over there. That pile back there is quite a bit larger now, and it's all soil from my property. So that's where we're at. A little disappointed. Last Wednesday we actually had the pump truck and concrete truck booked to come in and pour these foundation walls. We ended up having to cancel that because the framers they weren't ready. I was initially told by them that it was 2 days of work, and now they've been working for 2 weeks, so maybe they misspoke, I'm not sure. We did have to push that. It was scheduled for tomorrow. Mother Nature has decided to play a trick on me again. Not that I'm complaining too much about it, but definitely disappointed. We have been having cool, wet weather. I was actually worried about rain, and today it was 22 degrees Celsius, and I was told by the framers that down in that hole they do have a thermometer down there on the side. It got up to 25. And what that means for me is that the pump truck, I guess, was booked, or concrete truck, I'm not sure which one, was booked for 2 p.m. tomorrow, and the forms would be too hot by that time to be able to pour and know that it was going to cure and set all properly, because you don't want that concrete setting too quickly or too slowly. So we've had to push it, and now it's all booked for 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So I am definitely disappointed because I wanted it poured, wanted it curing over the weekend so that we could pull the forms and start framing, but we're not there yet. So thank you for watching this video. The good news is that a lot of decisions are coming up, I guess. Framing package we have to get ordered possibly tomorrow, if not early next week, or at least decide which company we're using for the framing package. I have to get my exterior doors ordered because they're usually like 5 to 6 weeks to come in, depending on the company. Could be longer, could be shorter, and we need them to get to lockup. I also need to order interior doors, and pretty quick I gotta figure out all my plumbing and my plumbing fixtures and where all my plumbing needs to go, where all my electrical needs to go. So lots of decisions, lots of design decisions. I'm gonna take you along for the ride so I can look back at this and hopefully not just see those stressful points like today when I was told that they can't pour tomorrow, but see some of the good stuff too. At this point, I don't think I would do this again. We'll see if that changes along the way. Thanks for listening or watching. I will hopefully be doing videos more frequently. Hopefully we'll get to see some actual action happening back there, and not just some wood in a hole, because that's what it's been lately. So last time I was saying I was getting a little frustrated that we kept having to bump back this concrete pour for these foundation walls, and we finally got that done on Tuesday. Today's Thursday, so it's May 4th today. They were up on the lot today, so it's been 2 days since they poured this concrete. On Tuesday they started at 8 a.m. and were finished at 11:30 pouring. And technically they probably could have started actually peeling off the plywood today, but we want to let it sit a little bit longer just because this wall is such a large continuous wall of concrete. Hard to tell in the videos, but it's above my head by quite a bit. It's probably about 8 feet, so we want to make sure it's nice and cured before we pull off those concrete forms, the plywood forms. But they did do some stuff today over along this top section here, and across the front they started pulling those little cross braces that you can see in behind on the lower section, and they got quite far on that. They also, I can tell, pulled off a few 2x4 supports. Just done a few little things. I don't know if they're coming up tomorrow or not. I know they will be up next week for sure, pulling off the forms. And then the next steps will be drainage pipes, so like my neighbor has going there, the drainage pipes for it, and the waterproofing of this foundation wall in particular, but probably all the foundation walls. I don't know exactly how all of that works, but that's where we're at. You can see a little bit better where my floor will be. So on that one interior one right there, that's the level of my basement floor. And then the other thing you can see right now is the metal pieces that are sticking up out of the forms. Those are for my shear walls. So shear walls, they just keep the house a little bit stronger, especially we live in an earthquake zone. So if we got an earthquake, it helps to support the house a little bit better. And basically they're cladded in plywood and extra support within the actual wall itself. Over here you can see that they have poured the concrete also for my deck posts. So I do have a wraparound deck on this house, and you can kind of see their pile of what they've pulled off. So no, it doesn't look like they've pulled that much. They have pulled a fair amount off. There's quite a big pile actually back there right now. So that's my update for today. Like I said, I'll probably do some more days and what they've done on this vlog before I upload it. I am behind right now. I still got a vlog to upload from last week. But that's where we're at, giving these a few extra days to cure. Hi everyone, so just wanted to pop in. I didn't do any videos this week, but here's some photos of them working on stripping off those forms. As you can see, they kind of started with the interior and then were working their way through the smaller walls and then eventually those larger walls. They did add an extra footing, and you can see it in this photo. I'm not really sure why, but I know the engineers did add an additional shear wall, so that could be. You can see my window in the foundation there. We're not sure if we're going to have to do a window well or if just the way that the slope will be, if it'll be above ground, so we'll have to see there. But the walls were looking really good. They have pretty much it all stripped now except for that one corner. And there's quite a big pile of concrete that poured out of that corner a little bit. So that's where we're at. We do have a framing quote, framing package quote. We have electrical, plumbing. The next steps, like I said before, are just going to be waterproofing and then drainage around. And then we can start, at the same time, actually, we can start framing the lower level. So I'll start actually seeing it come together. And then soon I have to make decisions on doors and plumbing to get those ordered, and so that the plumber can place drains in the correct spots before we pour our concrete floor.